0.6.9.2. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the dev stream with the devs.
With us.
Yes, so there is Dan, who is, the sort of the main man behind Blue Bottle Games. Dan, would you like to say hello to the stream?
Hello, everybody.
Excellent. There's Corey, who is, the awesome writer behind some of your favorite lines in Ostranauts. Corey, can you say hello to the stream, please?
Hello, hello.
There
excited
is
to see excited to see the cops in action.
Yes. There's Naiba, who currently doesn't have a working mic, as far as I can tell. However, they are in the Discord chat. Naiba, if you'd like to send a little hello message in Discord, perhaps.
Naiba is the architect behind many of the stations and ships you encounter in the game.
Yes.
Nearly all the ships at this point.
Very
Well,
nearly.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Sweet.
Shipbuilder extraordinaire.
And there's me, and I do stuff.
Undefined many things.
Undefined many things. Sometimes social media, sometimes little bit of bug fixing. Right, so character creator time. Which one of the slots should I overwrite? This is tough.
You're continuing a slot right now, it looks like.
Yeah, you should go back and do a new one.
Aha. If I'd clicked the right button.
I always feel bad, because I have to test so much, even with live builds. I'm basically constantly killing off all my characters after I build a relationship with them or whatever. I'm sure there's a way I could actually save the data somewhere, but every time I'm like, oh no, I got to get rid of this person.
Right.
Prince Clay.
Let's make our character. Chat, give us a name. Hopefully they'll come up with a good one in the next couple of minutes. Or sooner. I see Phoenix is typing.
Hey Dan, did you tweet out on your personal account that we're streaming?
Let me check. I don't think I did.
Now the theme of the headshots.
And I guess I can do an announcement in Discord, or you can, Naiba. I guess you can.
I think there already is one in the Discord announcements channel. Or do you mean general?
I can do one in general real quick.
Okay. So
Should I throw an @ here there, or is that too annoying to ping everyone?
No. I would. If people are around, they can watch.
Right, we have Facey McFaceman. If anyone would like to come up with a different name, free to
Facey McFaceman.
give us a shout. Although, this is
And your
a
first
man.
boat
has
will
a face.
be Bodie McBoatface.
I guess it just has to be at this point. It's been decided for us, really.
Match made in heaven.
We make the goal to be to buy off a police officer.
Ooh.
Like critical success, buy him off, or just
Okay, yeah. We're setting a goal for the stream.
Just get a police officer on our payroll.
I'm down for trying it.
We can give it a shot. Right, I guess I'll just sort of skip through this in some order
there you
or
go.
other.
I was gonna tell you the min-max.
I don't know the min-max off by heart, but I know that if you pick the pocket, you get some money. And that's usually enough to set you off.
I think you get more with what you did by seducing them, honestly.
Let's see. Oh, I did. Yeah, I got an ex-lover and I got 1,250. So, yeah, make it.
Now you have someone to daydream about.
I do.
Oh, that's
See?
true.
See, it's all coming
done that
together. Right, it's just saying I've got to take that ship. So, let's go. Take the good old box sled. Now,
So in general, the new stuff on this patch is there's a lot. I guess Dan, you can go through your patch notes, but the stuff I can remember off the top of my head is
Stuff right there for one thing. The the status traits and skills readout for a character is now
Mhm.
somewhat graphical and categorized.
Yep. And you can see the bars there instead of just the adjectives that were there before. So that's a little quicker to read people's, you know, current interiority now.
And we hide that information on people you talk to until they reveal it. So when they do something that shows a mood change on them, you learn about the status bar for that that mood on them. So you have to do a little bit of scouting to kind of know what status they're in. And then we also did, well, there was an economy rebalance. Prices and item availability have changed a bit. K-Leg got a makeover. We got a whole bunch of ships added, ship designs added. There are a few more conversation options with general NPCs now that you have relationships with. That's right, Corey, isn't it?
Yeah, there are. There's once you become friends with someone, you can pursue some like deeper conversation topics, learn more about their backstory and their life and stuff. Um, and I don't think this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you can ask about their home and stuff like that as well.
The homeworld, yeah. And then we also have a police conversation as kind of a test bed for, I guess, what we're calling like a stakes-based conversation where it's more than just chit chat. The outcome of this conversation is something significant. In this case, it's whether you get fined or not by the police. But it's hopefully going to serve as a template for how we do things like that, like negotiating a bribe or hiring somebody, convincing somebody to turn a blind eye. So it's a little bit more strategic than what you've seen in the past, and hopefully we'll get a chance to kind of put that through its paces today.
Yeah, the basic design foundation is essentially that there's a kind of corporate security force kind of tooling around in their ships. They work for IoT Miwa, the company, the corporation that owns K Lake Station and does the sort of salvage operation and shipbuilding here, ship scrapping, I should say. And they're going around and sort of enforcing some of the rules and regulations of the boneyard here. But mostly they're just shakedown artists. They're just trying to line their own pockets. So when you converse with them, you have some options of how to get out of the conversation and things like that with the least amount of money out of your pocket. But usually there's gonna be some amount of money at least coming out of your pocket. You can get out of it without spending money, and you can spend money to like have cool stuff happen too. I don't know if anybody's done that yet, but
Yeah, and we want there to be more of that for sure. Like, yes, the bribe or yes, the fine are two outcomes, but like these officers you run into could be someone you know, for better or worse. They may end up being someone that you know and want to deal with again. Which is sort of, I think, what Corey was alluding to there. Like these are relationships that either exist or you will be building in the game, and those can also be leveraged in some ways. I'd like to really lean into that social networking stuff as we get more of these conversations kind of running, and you can start to leverage your contacts or run away from your enemies.
yeah, ideally you've just kind of got a network of folks that you kind of recognize or remember, and you're sort of introducing them to each other, playing off each other, stuff like that. Phoenix asks, why does the game save nearly every single conversation event? I guess they're reading through a save file.
That
Um,
screenshot in particular is for the message log on a character. So
uh,
it's the last 50 events in the message log with the color and the owner information so that the message log can recreate it when you load the game. And you can still scroll up to see the last 50 things.
mm,
However, there's a lot of stuff like that in there, which is inflating the file to very large proportions. So every time they have an interaction with something, they remember how it made them feel, so that the next time they're looking for that feeling, they can do that thing again, if it makes sense. It's kind of a crude machine learning. So the sort of the machine learning database is in the save file, which is part of the reason it's so large. And then every item and every condition on that item and all of the positional information and yada yada. So hopefully that answers your question.
I think we found
Yeah,
a pretty good ship, by the way, here, guys.
all right.
You got stuff in that ship.
There's stuff.
You
There's
didn't
not
even
all
have to
gone.
go far for it.
Well, it's missing. I know this ship. It's a cool ship. It's missing its reactor. It has 2 intake regulators right there in the middle, so that's nice. The hull looks okay, I think.
Yet again, we are insulting Naiba by finding a nearly serviceable ship right off the bat, close to the station in a stream.
Oh no, this is not even close to the one I found. I found a pristine, like all intact, like no trash on it, no degradation. Like a huge boat. I can't remember what it was, but
It was a bit,
huge.
yeah. It was like, I don't know if it was a Mesa, but it was on that order.
Yeah, it was big. I actually wouldn't, if I was playing a solo game, I would probably leave this one behind personally, but
Not good enough for you?
no, I don't think so. But we haven't,
Standards are high, man.
I know, we haven't done a lot of like fixing up on stream, so I'm cool with that to kind of make this thing look good by the end of the stream.
Yeah, you nabbed that laser torch because one of the economy rewrites we did, Naiba tuned some of the numbers, and the laser torch is a big ticket item now and extremely portable.
Oh, I didn't know that. How much is it? Do you remember?
I want to say it's in the ballpark of like $7,000.
Oh, damn.
And for like 0 effort to pick it up.
And you use it to, like, when you're uninstalling like a door, for example, right? Or no, you use a drill for that. The laser torch is used.
That's hull stuff. Anything
hull
that's
stuff,
hull
yeah.
related, like doors, floors, and walls, I think, are the 3 main ones. And the drill is for things like conduits, appliances. Uh-oh, Popo found you, Josh.
Right, okay. Time to undock, as a good citizen should. To not get
Oh, they probably saw
absolutely...
you doing some illegal salvage.
So it'll be interesting to see if this works. Before 692 went out, they would actually cite you for any old thing randomly, but I changed a few bits in there so that they will only accuse you of illegal salvage if they home in on you while you're docked with a derelict, and they will only cite you if, for a poster, lack of Ojizo's poster, if you are both standing in a room without the Ojizo's poster at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Although I saw one report of a bug, I think it was on Steam, where they said it was literally eight tiles away from where they were standing, but that could be in another room, or it could be before I put that bit of code in there, like the save file was created before then.
That's just the cop rubbing it in your face, though.
Yeah,
They're like staring right at. They're staring right at
looking
the poster.
right at it.
They're like, "Oh, what a shame you don't have the poster up." Well, that'll be 1,500. All right,
Yeah,
so
I'm pretty sure that was last year's poster, so it's not good.
Yeah, exactly. So the cop here has boarded. Well, he's docked you anyway, and now if you go,
No, they haven't
go
yet.
out of this net. Oh, they haven't.
I've just slowed my relative speed so that it didn't absolutely destroy me, because it was about to absolutely destroy me.
I should have watched that because they're supposed to be pretty good about. They cut it close, but not crash. But we haven't been hearing a lot of crash reports.
Are they not docking you?
Have they lost interest? Let's see, if I back off, are they going to chase me? Oh, can I get away? Ooh, okay, quick. I'm on the run.
What happened there?
Not interested anymore once they saw your beat up old rig.
Yeah, they got really close enough so they could see it with just the windows, and they were like, oh no.
And they're like, "There's no way this guy has enough money to shake down. Not even worth my time."
Pro tip, folks: if the police are right there, whoa, you got pretty far off though, huh? Was that you burning to slow the?
Yeah.
Yeah, he burned off a bunch of remass.
Yeah, so
That's pretty
because
far
the
out.
cop was coming in at like 1.4, so I was like, right, I'm gonna accelerate at the same direction the cop is going, so that our relative will be massively reduced.
We better be careful. You don't have much. You don't have much juice left.
I've got 6.7 kilometers a second of delta V. That's enough to get somewhere. But yeah, there's only 200 kilos. I think the delta V is quite good actually, because that's a sort of a change with the update.
We ended up putting the remass kilograms back in at the request of a player who was more comfortable with that number, maybe for like intuitive reasons. Like, okay, this is maybe they had a gauge for like what mass is good versus bad. But I think
That's what I use. I use the remass. I think it's like it's kind of cool to see it going down based on how big your ship is and stuff you add to it. It kind of makes
it
you
feels
have.
very technical or like
Yeah, right,
engineering heavy.
right. It really gave me a sense for how much those big ships can be gas guzzlers, you know,
Yeah.
because you see your remass just plummet as you try to get this thing up to speed.
Okay, I'm at
Phoenix was
1K.
saying stay docked to the police and then they lose interest and go away. I think that's, I forget what the timer is on that, but they will eventually, if they don't grind you to a pulp while they wait, because that's another bug that I'm trying to solve, is to get them to loiter a little bit further away than they do right now, because otherwise you get a lot of collision time.
Are you going back in?
Yeah, I'm going to try and offload some of this
You better
these
take
little
off your
bits.
helmet, buddy.
Oh,
You're,
thank you for reminding me. I am, yes. I usually I forget that a lot actually. It's not the first time I've nearly
the
suffocated.
serenity of the helmet is enticing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It just feels safe, and then boom, no
I think we
oxygen
put
left.
that indicator on there. It didn't used to be on there, remember? It was just like all of a sudden you'd start choking and you're like, what?
If you were lucky, you noticed.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes
Totally just died.
you just die.
Crusoe says RCS remass seems more clearly associated with how many full N2 tanks do I have? And that's a good point. That's like I've got a half tank, and you just get to know the ship and what a half tank does for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a car, you think about it in terms of sort of gas tanks.
Just throw $5 in, please.
General Panther says, what do you mean moving something the size of an apartment building uses a lot of gas? I know, right? It seems intuitive that you get in this giant ship. I mean, that's why I don't even salvage big ships anymore. And soon, we're actually talking a lot inside of Dev to kind of like start building some type of job system in the game that actually rewards different kinds of ships. Because right now, from my perspective, it seems very obvious to take like a medium-sized ship, slap a ton of burners on it and just use that. And the big ships don't really do much with the current economy, but obviously we want there to be reasons to have a little small ship or versus a giant ship.
Yeah. Like right now, the optimal ship is basically some version of a tow truck.
Yeah.
Or a wrecking truck that just goes around and picks a few things and then comes back. But you don't have a VIP who has stateroom requirements or a refrigeration cargo hold for perishables or something like that to worry about yet.
Oh, I didn't think about that. It would be sweet. I know we talked about like hauling and we've talked about escorting, but we hadn't really talked about transporting like diplomats or something. That would be really sweet to have. You'd have to have maybe like certain interiors like Van Hummels or something. And otherwise they'd be like, I'm not staying in this junk.
Jobs canceled the minute they step onto your ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope, sorry.
They'd have to have a room like the room the Firefly that the what's her name is in. I forgot.
Inara?
Yeah, Inara, yeah.
And you could be a landlord. You could rent out your rooms.
There you go. So anyway, in this next kind of set of systems we're thinking about, it'll be like maybe job postings or something with certain ship requirements before you can start doing work. Because once you have these ships, we want there to be like some semblance of maybe not explicit quests exactly, but something that feels that way.
Yeah, activities, things to do besides what we have been doing.
So we have a new feature here for people who haven't seen it yet, which is that the main station of this system has been greatly expanded. And Naiba built it. It's called it's still called OKLG, but there's a bunch of different districts here now. And they're connected by a little tram system. So someone has accosted you right when you right when you get on.
They just
Criminal.
step towards me.
And they are a
threateningly.
20-year-old criminal. Punk kid.
Man, you know it's good when someone just says that occupation is, just writes it down as crime. Right,
They're an
what should
honest
I do?
criminal.
Should I warn the superstition? Why are they accosting me right next to the door? That's, that's bad,
Yeah,
bad practice.
that? Yeah, near an
It's
airlock.
bad luck to talk in the airlock.
Exactly, it definitely is. So you say that,
And
and
they
they
tell
tell
me
you
to
to
back
back off. They need some. He needs some space.
They're the one who came to me. What are they doing? You know what?
They want to run the show. They don't want you leading the
You
conversation.
know what? If they want a threat, I'm gonna playful threat back. We gotta hit him
Well,
with
his was a real threat, I think. Yours is a playful threat. So
Oh,
okay, well,
Got a chip on his shoulder, whatever it is.
change the subject. Let's ask him about jobs.
oh wow, he's looking for work.
They actually are.
This is like Jane Cobb from Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's just give them a basic job offer right off the bat. Let's not change anything. Let's just see what they do.
Okay, $94 a day. You got Moxie, kid. Oh, he
Nope.
says you don't sign on with complete strangers. So the relationship system tracks people. Well, now he's an acquaintance because you've talked to him enough.
We think they're an acquaintance.
Right, they don't
We're
see
just
us that way.
some random guy they just had a go at.
I think we've learned everything we need to learn about him. That's why he's an acquaintance.
Yeah, he's a dick. That's what we learned. So if
Oh,
we
wait,
keep talking to him, then
we revealed his security as unafraid. So it's not that he's afraid of anything right now. He's just maybe he just
Let's
needs
roll our eyes at this guy.
more privacy.
So for anyone who doesn't know how this works, basically just like in real life, you talk to somebody, you don't really know much about their interiority, sort of like what they look like, and not much more. The longer you talk to them in this new social iteration, the more you learn about them based on what sort of most recently changed in their deck. So this man's Damien's autonomy recently either went down or up, and so they kind of gave us a tell for that, and now we've kind of learned that they feel micromanaged, which is a low stat for them, in the yellow there. And so you can just kind of keep interacting with people and slowly learn things about what their kind of interior deck is, and eventually use that to your advantage in certain negotiations. Certainly with the cop you can do that.
Yeah. In this case, it's more just chit chat. You don't really have any sort of outcome to this conversation. But were you talking to a cop, or if this was a hiring situation, you'd probably want to be getting some of those stat bars closer to green so that they're not so preoccupied they say no.
Right. Because the general way the social system works is, that cop's going into that criminal. The general way the system works is like a bunch of bad stuff happens when they're in the yellow and red, and like good stuff happens when they're in the green. And that'll continue to be true as we add stuff. It's already true in a certain sense with the cops, but you get better outcome with the cops when they're in the green. Especially
General Fanter on Twitch was saying we could have just hit the airlock button and solved all of our problems, but I guess we don't have enough spacing technology in there to vent people out the airlock yet.
And I'm not sure we had our helmet on, but maybe we did.
We didn't. Right. So
this
there's
is
not
the
much
new
we can sell
OKLG.
here. We can, however.
This was the scrap kiosk?
Yes, it's the normal scrap kiosk. So what I'm sort of trying to show people is, look, you can sell stuff, but not that much. Like, we picked up more stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, wait, we go inventory.
They will happily take the bulk sort of high effort, low value stuff that you get out of a ship, plus sort of supply shop tools. And they tend not to buy the better stuff because only like licensed contractors can do those things. We've sort of likened it to in big cities, you have to buy a taxi cab badge in order to be a legit taxi service, and the badges are like $1 million. So only certain people have the authority to go out and get the good stuff, and then the rest of us plebes have to just sell the scraps, basically the dregs, what's ever left over.
Or just like buy the stuff from the scrapyard to be a salaried, not salaried, but to be like a day worker, in the way that you were before the game started. Like,
oh yeah, like your origin story is you basically waited for them to roll up outside with a pickup truck, hopped in the back, work a day, and you get like a pittance of wages, and they give you the tools to do it at the time too, and you have to give the tools back at the end of the day. That kind of an arrangement.
Hathor McLean
We've met a contact.
is a manager. Oh wow, this guy works for IoT Mual.
Was this the person that you met smuggling things in character creation?
Yes,
oh, it must be because you guys are contacts. That's cool.
I still have to do that black book user interface so that we can remember where we met these people.
Yeah, some type of like social media system or something like that, like on your PDA, would be good for that.
Also, I've just realized this Hator person is matching all of us with the glasses theme. I mean, look.
Everybody's been in glasses so far, haven't they? Even Damien had glasses.
Even Damien, yep. Wow, the glasses.
It's a theme. We had so Phoenix fixed the save file. Congrats on that.
Good job. Good job.
Beast of a file. And Crusoe says, so will we soon be able to buy a Halverson Scrapper badge to let us sell thrusters at the kiosk? I think we might be going in a direction like that. Like there might be an exclusive kiosk which buys the good stuff, but in order to use it, you have to have a license, and the license, let's say, is, I don't know, to choose a wild number, $10,000 a week or something like that. But you have to pay to play, basically.
We were thinking about doing it by shift too, where it's
by shift might make sense. So it's like if you're good enough, it's probably worth your while, but it's a bit of a risk if it doesn't work out.
Little mini game for you. But the cops won't mess with you because you're doing legal salvage, right? I mean,
yeah.
If they
and you don't have to like deal with the fixer not buying that thing that day, because probably Ayotimiwa can absorb a much broader range of things and then just warehouse it for later.
Trying to find things that raise both our stats, because this one's a friend rather than like, some randomer who's accosted us at the airlock.
Currently, you're full green. I think we also are going to work soon on the entire ecosystem. Usually keeps you pretty well topped off of your own stats, and I don't know if we want that. So far, the current play pattern mostly privileges you trying to manipulate other people's stats rather than your own, but obviously we'd like it to be both ultimately.
It's pretty far to fall from all green when you start the game. And I think what we said was, let's see if we can balance it so that baseline, without any effort from you, you'll tend towards kind of middle of the road. So like your first green out of 5. But if you want like exceptionally green on a thing, you have to work for it. And similarly, if you get dinged a bunch in one area, you go down into the yellow and red.
Yeah, and it might be as easy as just making the starting values more middle of the road rather than being full up.
Yeah, and that's thankfully pretty easy to do, so we can always throw that in to see how it goes.
We haven't really talked much about the new OKLG here, but this is one of the districts that Naiba built. This whole station was built by Naiba, built and designed with a really sweet design document. So there's a lot of reasoning behind a lot of these decisions that Naiba can explain better than me. But this is this cop's messing with you. This is a like almost like the transit lobby sort of area, like with docks and stuff, ports.
Yeah, kind of like the
and-
gate of an airport, but it has a few other services, like the kiosk and things like that. I guess kind of like all of the airport in one in a way, because you have the area where you dock and walk through the airlock. You have the transit on the other end of the map. You have kind of stores in the middle, and then waiting areas, and some loading zones. But this is just like if the airport were a module in a larger station. And yeah, here's the map for the rest of the station.
So it's called Port Azikiwe right there. That's where
Naiba
we are.
says it's on the theme of a cheap ferry terminal.
There you go.
And there would be more stuff working, but unfortunately, someone crashed a massive mesa into the side of K-Leg. You know.
I really messed up the whole station real bad.
But he
on
has
that
prescription glasses now, so it won't be as bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
So that cool art there. You want to look back at the transit station?
Yes.
Was done combination of Josh himself and Naiba built this, and we actually have a more advanced map with all these different locations. Kind of unclear
Yeah.
now how much we want to even have of OKLGB fleshed out. You know, we might actually want players to leave pretty quick, so sort of remains to be seen how much of it will actually get built out in the main game beyond this. But so far, there's at least 3 places you can go here. The port that we just went to, or the commercial building where like most of the office workers are, or the old Emporium here, which is where the Mescaform bar is. There was some hints in the original text when you docked that was about like, oh, I believe something along the lines of there's a bar where less savory folks hang out. And do you see the Mescaform text now when you walk into the Mescaform? Is that how that works, Dan?
I think when you first show up on the Mescaform station, which should have happened already.
Oh yeah, maybe we.
I don't
passed
remember it firing though. Do you remember, Josh?
No, I think it was just blank straight into being in front of
Unless somebody talked to you before it fired, which is possible. That might be something for me to look into. And actually, it's probably worth mentioning to anyone watching right now, that transit thing is giving some people some trouble because they can't notice it as easily as something like the scrap kiosk. So I think we might have to redo the art for that to draw your eye to it a bit more, because a lot of people are not realizing there's other whole sections to the station
Yeah,
via
totally.
transit.
Give a quick
Oh, there you
zoom
go.
into it. There you
See?
go. That is the transit kiosk if you're confused about what it is.
And it brought us here to the old Emporium, which is the pleasure district of OKLG. There's like a sort of abandoned shops / it's like a mall, almost an abandoned mall. And eventually we're going to try to put some this over here will be close to like a food court kind of a thing, I think, because food's mentioned in the text. What's this guy doing back here? And then the other side is the Mescaform bar, which is where people relax, but also where you might be able to meet someone who's going to buy stuff for the black market.
Where deals are made.
Where the deals are made.
Drinks are poured, deals are made.
Just go to the darkest corner of the bar and you'll find out.
Sort of gone the wrong way. I was just sort of trying to show the station, and I've made an acquaintance. Hey.
Mr. Popular. Fancy McFace man.
Yes. Right. Back around. Back route. Also, something I showed off just a moment ago that some of you might have missed. You can now sit in chairs.
I think you can uninstall them now too.
Yeah, put them on your ship. Can you imagine just walking into a bus station, just uninstalling the chair?
I'll just take this with me.
This-
that was
this
in a movie
is fine.
once, wasn't it? That was Terminal with Tom Hanks.
He uninstalls the chair and takes it.
He actually renovates an entire wing that was just like decommissioned
Wow.
because he's living there for like weeks on end, waiting for his nationality status to clear.
And he's like, well, now I live here.
I watched that like about Christmas time, I think.
So you got the bartender here you can talk to, and Yang Dean. Oh man,
buy
he
a
looks
drink.
stressed.
There's something going on with Yang Dean. There's
I mean, there's a lot
an
going on in
element
that
of
bar right now,
concern.
you know.
Chico says maybe a transit floor sign along with a terminal. I think that that may be one way to do it. Like we've been talking about like floor signage.
Yeah.
I think the other thing we were looking at is the voting kiosk nobody missed, and it basically looked like the top of the kiosk was a giant button that said vote on it, and we could always do something like that too. But I think even if we just made it fatter than it is now, it's like a 2x1 kiosk, which doesn't have a lot of room for information on the top. And maybe if we made it 2x2 and sort of prettied it up a bit. So there's definitely things we can do, I think. Flashing lights, yeah, we can do some flashing lights. Whoever wrote suicide by 2 bullets to the back of the head, I salute you.
This is another interaction here, unique interaction, which is the fixer. This is the guy. This is the conduit to all, basically the link to the black market in the system. And so he's sort of a known quantity, I think, even to the IoT MIWA execs. They're probably not gonna press him that hard. But basically, he's there to kind of offload the bigger parts, the more valuable parts. So right now, he's the main way to kind of make a living in the game. Just go out.
I liked the deep lore theory somebody floated on the Steam forums, which is that the fixer is on the payroll for IoT MIWA.
Ooh, and he's just like basically facilitating a kind of gray market trade, so these people become de facto employees by stripping out all the good parts. Oh man, that's cool.
So they're getting a good deal on the parts, and they can skim you for fine money, and they don't have to worry about paying you as employees.
I love that.
It's like the best of 3 different worlds there.
That's a good scheme. I'm reading a James Elroy crime novel right now. He's the guy who wrote LA Confidential and Black Dahlia and stuff. And it's exactly like that. Like all the cops just work with all the like mobsters who work with all the it's just everyone's kind of linked in this economy.
Everyone's in on it.
Yeah, basically everyone except
you,
except the rubes.
This person's career is literally just pirate. I kind of love that, to be honest. They just wear it on their shoulder, you know exactly what they are. It's
well, they're from Prokofiev. That's the Prokofiev. That's the prison.
Technically, you're not supposed to be able to leave Prokofiev unless they were like from, what was it called? Hongcheng? The station that serves Prokofiev is kind of like a minimally staffed space elevator or like geostationary orbit or something like that. So it's like the security staff and support staff for the prison are all up there, and then it's just prisoners, basically. Automated prison down in the crater prison. So yeah, I'm not sure if we have to change that in the NPC spawning rules, because if they escaped from Prokofiev, they're pretty badass.
Well, maybe she's just a badass.
That's why she can say, I'm a pirate and nobody messes with me.
Yeah, exactly. We can check out the commercial district if you want, but right now there's not much to do there. Very soon we are going to... Are we supposed to spoil features on here or not? I guess it doesn't matter, right?
I think we decided spoiling is fine, at least for the stuff we have in there now.
Okay.
We had a good reason for why that was okay, but I remember saying that was okay.
Okay. So right now we're working on a ship rating system that will be used in very different ways. But to get your ship sort of rated by OGZOs, you would come over here to this district and talk to someone who would appraise your ship, essentially, on its hull, and interiors, but also based on like the value of its parts and stuff. And it's a
Or like an
pretty
insurance actuarial assessment.
yeah, right. And it'll be used. Well, first of all, it'll just be kind of cool to kind of get your ship rated and know you have like a really highly rated ship. And so it's a little mini game in itself, but also it'll be used for when the cops pull you over, below a certain threshold. You can't just be driving around in an old beater, without getting fines.
You didn't pass the EPA threshold.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you just don't have tail lights or whatever, like that type of thing in cars. Um, and I should say we'll also kind of link that probably to the jobs system we're kind of spinning up. So someone might say, "Oh, we want like an A3 rated craft or higher." So there's
Ship flipper.
two. What's that?
Ship flipper.
Yeah. Wait, do you want to explain the rating system? There's like A through well, there's like vowels and then numbers, right? And one of them refers to the
Yeah.
whole, and can you explain it? I can't remember it exactly.
I think it was one of it was the fittings on the ship, like how well equipped it is, and the other one is the condition of the ship, the condition of the hull. So like you could have a piece of junk with really good equipment in it, or you could have like a pristine shell of a ship, but there's just nothing installed in it. And like one of the ratings would be high, one would be low. I forget if it's the letters. I think the letters are the hull and the numbers are the equipment. And if you've ever heard like A1 as like top rated, that expression, that's actually where it comes from. The ships used to be rated that way by, I think it was Lloyd's Register in the UK. So an A1 rated ship, you knew you were going to get top of the line hull, top of the line equipment like this. If you've precious cargo, put it on that ship.
It will make it quite hard probably to get that rating, and most things will be hovering around the middle there, but maybe you want to just get your ship top rated by these guys. And I assume there's going to be an appraisal fee as well.
Everything has to cost money.
Yeah, exactly. It actually might be, now that I think about it, that getting an appraisal at all might be your gate into this next tier of jobs, right? Like you have to have a rating period before you can start taking jobs on the job
Yeah.
posting.
Think of it as kind of like your reputation is going to end up being one of those things. We don't have reputation necessarily yet. Well, we do. We have the relationships like acquaintance and friend and contact. But like part of it is knowing the right people and having the right relationship with them. So the networking part of it. We've talked about licensing maybe being another one, like certain things you'll require a license to do. But yeah, there's also like, I won't even contract this out to a guy who doesn't have at least a B rating ship, right? Like I don't want my cargo disappearing halfway there because the ship is a piece of junk. So
Right. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. If only just to kind of like flex my muscles as a shipbuilder and just try to get an A1 ship built. That would be cool, especially from scratch. That'd be awesome.
are we supposed to be friends with them both ways to get the deeper conversation?
You have to see them as a friend to get the deeper conversation, or maybe it's vice versa. Scroll down, you might see it. You might
I
have
think
go
you
to
were
change
right.
the subject.
Because we are an acquaintance. We see them as an acquaintance. They see us as a friend. And I was curious if we'd see the options here, but we
No,
don't yet.
Aiden could ask us about our family, but we cannot ask them yet because we don't feel comfortable doing that. I believe is how it's set up. But if you keep talking to them,
yeah, I'm just gonna keep like, social combating this up until we get a friend.
yeah,
Just
if any
BSing with them until they crack.
Yeah,
basically over time, if there's enough kind of like upward changes in any stat, then that should do it. Like that should make a friend for you. So I would, maybe you could just focus one stat and like double arrow it or whatever. If you keep flirting with them, eventually they'll think you're a friend, I think.
Well, you basically grew that friendship in this conversation already, right? Like they
Correct.
started out as seeing you as a stranger.
yes.
Right. So just keep doing that, and it'll eventually, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because they like it.
Just got to keep flirting, you know. It's just the way the world works sometimes.
Oh, this guy's a cop. Do you see that? He must be off duty. That's cool.
Oh, that's weird. He's not dressed like a cop. I wonder what happened there.
He's plain clothes. This is the homicide detective.
Maybe he's trying to get hired by us so that you know, he can
Playing coy.
do some undercover stuff on our ship. I'm waiting
Shoot the
for one
breezes,
with
OP, baby. Shoot
yeah.
the breezes. Oh, there
Hey,
we
if
go.
you
We're
know how to
friends
do
now.
it's a OP in real life too.
Absolutely. Okay, so now that we're friends, we can ask about this guy's home, and he says he's from Mars. So this is all new stuff that's only available to you because you know this guy. And so
You're in the
Aiden
friend
says
zone.
they are from Hangzhou Orbital, which is a paradise for those who can afford it. Aiden also hopes to one day have enough money to return there and buy a residential visa. So there's a whole kind of like tranche of social interactions that kind of look like that kind of feel a little bit more specific and the kind of things you would only hear from a friend. And it's also our way of connecting to kind of surface a lot of the lore that's already written, if for those people who are into that kind of thing. And it also connects up to their actual character, because this guy, as you can see up there, their homeworld is Mars. So that's pretty cool. And you can also hear about their family. They have 2 kids and they fight constantly. Wow. 22 with 2 kids.
Starting early with that family.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'd rather not talk about the family. Maybe that fighting
done
is
talking about
pretty
family.
serious, you know.
I believe you can hear about I believe you can hear about like how their relationships are with their kids, their siblings, and their parents. Those are like the 3 kind of like areas you can learn about somebody. But sometimes they just say like, I don't want to talk about it. It's based on, I think, their privacy or something. They'll just say like, not now.
I want to try and get that final bar. We've got all of them except for altruism. Come on,
Collect
give
them
us an
all.
altruistic one.
General Fanther in Twitch says, I've known this man an entire 10-minute conversation and he's never let me down. He was always there for me. He's like family. And Phoenix found an EVA suit, a cop EVA suit on ships, and is currently impersonating a cop.
Whoa, that's an insanely rare drop, Phoenix. That's like I think the lowest drop in the game if you just found it, like just found it somewhere. Like you're talking about the black EVA suit?
It's a low drop rate. He says yes, or Phoenix says yes. And yeah, there's maybe like a 1 in 10 chance that an EVA suit is the black EVA suit. Oh, poor Maya. What happened?
They don't look happy
It's
at
not
all.
her contact. She's cool in contact.
Oh, she's a cop too. She's probably had a harrowing experience flying her NAS patrol ship at 1.4 kilometers per second.
She's like, it was the weirdest thing. I flew up to this guy ready to dock him, and then I just forgot what I was doing. And
I guess that's kind of the other big thing in the recent couple builds is AI pilots are out there now. You'll see scavenger AI pilots kind of going between K-Leg and derelicts. And you will also see the patrol ships now are a little bit more interactive. So not only will they come by you and then move on again like they used to, but they come by and there's a good chance they'll dock with you and then question you. And like anything involving AI, problems ensue. So now we have to figure out all those edge cases where the AI is colliding where they shouldn't be. But the kind of cool thing about that is as we get that AI working better, in theory, we can make your own crew pilot a ship better. And maybe we can get you to say, all right, so-and-so on my crew, go dock with the nearest station or dock with the nearest derelict or something like that, while you go off and do other things. So hopefully that's a building block that gets us moving forward.
Pervasive Peach on Twitch says, wait, I have a black EVA suit, LOL. It's like my first successful run in the game, too. I thought they were black normally, and orange was special for some reason. No, it's the opposite. Orange is normal and black.
I say lean into that feeling because you'll feel special all the time. You'll get all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
notes.
I mean, EVA drops are still quite rare.
Yeah, I mean, getting an EVA at all is a big deal.
Oh, having an EVA suit's a good gate for a job too. Like they want
Yeah.
you to be able to get out of their ship or whatever if there's a reason to. That's sort of the next group of designs we're doing is essentially we feel pretty comfortable about this early loop of building out a ship and getting to a point where you can comfortably bring parts out of the boneyard and back to the fixer here, and that's its own little mini game of trying to like make your rent or with the and not get late fees, which is fun. But we obviously that's just the first loop in the game, and we want there to be more of an expansive loop outside of that. And the way we're thinking about that is this job thing, and hopefully that'll take you further outside of OKLG at that point. For example, someone's like, I need someone to haul all these trenchers, whatever, 100 boxes of trenchers, crates of trenchers. So you're going to have a big ship, and we want it to be rated this way. And we need you to go here and come back within this span of time. So less like still using RCS, like not using your torch engine, but just like getting somewhere and back successfully and getting, for a payday. And then once you're out there, obviously stuff will happen. Maybe a random stray asteroid pops through your hull, or you see some pirates, or etc. That's the sort of, I think that's the next big group of things we're working on, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like we're kind of building that framework or the foundation for a lot of these systems to kind of hang off of, and it's pretty close. Like I think the game loop we have now is almost to a point where I'd be happy to leave it as is for a while to start adding some of these other ones we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a few things that are definite annoyances right now, and we're still working through that. And I think usability is always going to be something that we have to kind of keep an eye on. But like you can build a ship. You can basically start from almost nothing. You have to have a docking ring, but apart from that, you can build the entire ship. You can source parts. You can have conversations. There's quite a range of things you can already do, but now we're starting to give those things purpose instead of just whatever you want to do, like sandbox style.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of like that loop is the content loop people are super excited about, like feeling like they're entrepreneurial in a way that they sort of decide whether
I got my ship now. What do I do with it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, genuinely, some people are always like, can I just be like a miner? Like I literally just want to. It's like, yeah, sure. We can maybe set something like that
I
up.
just want to never see people again and just me and rocks.
We gotta, obviously, before we start working on that, we gotta, there's some issues of this patch that are like, the save issue is a thing, obviously, that we are aware of. Pervasive Peach actually says, I've only played the game for a few days and it's been a blast. My saves have been deleted a few times, but I keep coming back. Wow, that's a huge compliment, honestly, because we recognize how frustrating it is to lose a save. So we will fix that. I'm sure you've heard about this, Dan, right? People are talking about the saves getting skunked.
I don't know if broken, yes. Deleted, no. Is that what you mean? Like the save got corrupted? There's definitely, like, I think 690 and 691 had enough bugs in it where like it could basically ruin the save and you'd have to start a new game.
Yeah, that would just look like a bunch of null references or whatever.
Oh, okay, so the save was not deleted, but you basically couldn't save anymore after a certain point due to some bug. That I have heard about. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen a few people say like clicking the save button does nothing, and that usually means there was like a soft crash in the background, and it basically quits writing the file before it finishes, and so there's no new save generated. And I think Josh, you'll have to tell me what you think, but if that's happening, there should be like an orange or red indicator in the top left corner, right? If there was like a crash or something.
Depends what would be causing it, but yeah, potentially there would be a little icon. One of the things I've seen is Dan is going around saying if the game detects as a bug, and it's not a bug, it's an error, and I'd like to just clarify that because not all bugs are detected as errors. But if the game thinks something has
Right.
gone very wrong, and it's like something it's the engine knows about, then you should normally get some sort of indication.
Yeah, so we may want to tweak that net to be a little bit finer so that in the situation that Pervasive's Peach mentions, they get like the little red indicator to let them know as soon as possible that things have gone wrong. I'm not sure what the bug was in that case, which is too bad because otherwise we could test on that specifically. But yeah, we'll be working on that. And if you haven't seen it yet, like basically when there is an error, you might see a little red exclamation mark appear in the top left corner. Not your notifications thing in the PDA, but even higher than that in the screen. There'll be a little thing. If you click on it, it'll open a console with like the last few error messages. And we're hoping that as that gets kind of more featureful, people can look at it and tell us what error they had, and then we can more easily find and fix that issue. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that F3 does that, right?
Yeah, so F3 you can pull up the menu if you want to see it.
I forgot there was a hotkey for it.
Nerds
Half-Life says.
Go ahead, Dan. I was just about to do it.
Been playing since day one. How goes the LRCP or long range course plot or burn? I built a very large ship and have done everything you can up until this point. Been looking for the long range burn. So that there's a couple pieces that have to come online at the same time for that to work. And so one part of that is we got to get the reactor kind of like the cobwebs out of that, because there's a few things wrong with the way the reactor works in terms of the way it reports fuel and uses fuel. There's also some stuff that I think would be cool to kind of like split out into separate components. So like it's not just an all-in-one reactor box, but there's like multiple pieces you need to have in place near the reactor. So that's kind of one area of work that I think needs to happen. Another area of work is if you go from K-Leg to, let's say, Mars, that could be up to a week of travel time, even if you're like burning at 1 gravity of acceleration. And a week of in-game time at 16 times fast forward isn't going to cut it. There was a point in time where I thought that'll be fine. Like the whole game will be like that trip. And the things that happen on that trip, which maybe that's still true, but I think we are starting to lean towards a different thing now where you hit a button faster than 16 times speed that fades to black and says 8 hours later, here's what's happening. And it basically wakes you up out of that fast forward only for the interesting stuff that happens along the way. But that involves a lot of kind of like simulating what goes on behind the scenes faster than we have been doing it, which is 16 times is just like we brute force speed everything up and do it frame by frame. But I think we're going to have to cheat a bit if we're going to go faster than that. So that's piece 2. Piece 3, there has to be some place to go. Like if you go to Tharsis Landing, it is like a 3-room station with nobody on it. We need to build a station there. We need to put people in it. We need interesting stuff to be happening there. Optionally,
Yeah, I mean,
we also probably want
technically
AI flying.
you can go anywhere you want right now. It's just there's nothing there. I mean, you can't use your torch, but you can just RCS out to wherever you want. It's just we haven't really populated the rest of the world. So the kind of the design order we're going in is we want to make OKLG be as interesting and varied as we possibly can in terms of like creating these little narrative moments and things so
Chico
that we
actually
can
says something like that too over in Discord, and yeah, totally. Like we could do a little encounter screen, for something that's a little bit smaller, or maybe it's it's a full-on thing with set pieces, like you come across a distress beacon, and we could probably build some interesting kind of like bespoke distress situations to play out. There's a lot of room for creativity there.
Someone's first time seeing Ostranauts as their new scavenger player. I hope it
Oh,
looks
Resper, welcome. Yeah.
looks interesting. Yeah, it's the game. And yeah, people have flown to the stations. I knew people would do it. If they can, they will. And yeah.
Maybe there will be some advantage to just RCSing to places beside and not torching, but I guess space is so big. Like, surely nobody has RCS'd out to like Mars from here, have they?
I think the economics of trying to do a burn on RCS across the solar system, it wouldn't work out anyway. Like, I'm thinking, like, let's say you use a minimal amount of RCS to get up to cruising speed, and then that again to slow down. Your travel time is going to be so long. You're going to burn through like food and atmo and power just to get there. That might outstrip the cost of like burning that amount of nuclear fusion material.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Phoenix in Discord has said, no one's RCS'd out to Mars. Challenge accepted.
You can try.
Hey, there's a really good 1 or 2 times a year where K-Leg and Mars are like right next to each other, and that's what you want to wait for. K-Leg is kind of like a moving dumpster for this solar system. It travels in and out of like the inner planets to some of the outer planets and belt. So if you catch it at the right time, you can probably make a transfer with minimal amount of fuel and time expenditure.
Oh man, that's gonna be so cool when we actually do have the torch up and running, like thinking about where we are in the orbital map. That's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome.
I know I already saw one person playing around with fast forward here on the map, which originally I put that in there because flying torch, you're on the order of weeks, which means a planet's moved by the time you've gotten there. And the fast forward here is supposed to show you like, okay, my course is going to put me here in a week. Where's the planet going to be in a week? And let's fine tune things. But unfortunately, if you use it now, it can be confusing because all the planets move, all the ships don't, and it looks like basically fast forward is broken. But really, it's just kind of a feature that's only half there right now.
Yeah, I guess we'll be using that long range course plot to kind of pass us into that part of the game where the events, like, that the one Dan was describing earlier, where it kind of fades to black and then brings you back in. You'll just be in some part of space and something will be happening.
You'll be in some part of space moving at 25 kilometers a second, and there's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Because they wouldn't wake you up if there wasn't a problem. Or maybe I guess there could be like it auto wakes you up every 8 hours or something, just so you can check in on everything, and then maybe
I think the crisis, we actually long ago now, we're talking maybe a year and a month ago before the launch, one of the things we were talking about adding to the title screen of the game was what we were calling the Crucible. So it's kind of like you're in the thick of it, like you load the Crucible and it's like problem right now and you have to deal with it. And like the first Crucible idea we had was just that you're 4 days out from the nearest station, you're moving at 25 kilometers a second. This system on your ship has just gone out and your crew is at your throat. Deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you get yourself out of that situation and like back to dry land, or just die in space hurtling through the blackness?
Yeah, I suppose a system like that could be something like an encounter system in like a traditional RPG, right? Like, let's say in like a Final Fantasy style game, you're walking from one town to another. Once you at some point during that, you're going to have an encounter, like a fight, right? And so before that, you kind of like get yourself ready for it, whatever, get equipment, whatever you need, your potions, and then you just go and you expect that something bad's going to happen. You're going to have to deal with it. Maybe our long range course plot will kind of feel like that, where it's like, okay, here we go.
Provision for the ship, because it's going to be
like something's going to happen. You hit
Naiba's
go
critiquing your low glide angle.
Yeah, I think I've just hit the side of K-Leg, actually.
Oh, so it's not so easy, huh?
You know what I think might have happened? I think you ran into one of the K-Leg...
The hidden ones, right?
The hidden ones, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You just ran into, like, the commercial district
I'm gonna go on the transit once like, the normal one's gonna be fine, but then once we go through the transit, it's just gonna be, like, dead bodies everywhere.
Why is this transit car speeding up really quickly? Oh, I'm being sucked into the void.
Oh my gosh, you ran into it again.
Right, my ship looks fine. Okay.
Your ship's fine. I think you would have heard a bigger noise if it was.
Your VREL is only 8 meters per second, so as long as you're under 100, the damage shouldn't be too bad. Which is gracious in reality. Like, you'd be lucky to not get damage like at a meter per second in real life. So Naiba says the advantage of having a ship that already looks like it crashed.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you pick? We were talking, so I was kind of not watching stream. Did you pick up? You picked up some stuff to sell. Is that what's going on, Josh?
Yes, not too much stuff, but some stuff. Let's have a look at my inventory.
Sampler.
You know, look, I got a liquid helium canister. I got a crate with some bits in it. I got another Halverson one.
Do you know that your contact is looking for helium?
I forgot what they were looking for, so I'm just hoping that I haven't crashed into that bit of K-Leg.
He's going on faith right now.
I'll just put my helmet on the floor. There we go. Pick that up on the way back.
You already have a second one anyway, for some reason.
Right, so let's see. Is Mescaform going to be absolutely ruined?
Nope, all you did was kill all the suits in the executive district.
Nobody cares about them anyway, so it's alright, you know. We did it. Which one of these is the actual fix? I think it's this person. We've all got into a little conversation here.
Hidden in plain sight.
Aha, Halverson.
Oh.
And
Not great.
And nothing else.
What's their high value item right now? Nav stations and what else? Is that it? Scroll up.
Nav station is the highest ticket item they're selling right now. Fine.
That's rough.
Yeah.
And it's gonna change at 1640, so that's like
an hour and 20 minutes.
An hour and 20 minutes from now. I mean, nav stations are pretty common, at least.
I was going to say, one of the discussions we've been having is ways to deal with that fixers list. So we've talked before about licensing, buying a license so that you can sell whatever you want to K-Leg legally. I think that's one of the solutions, but we may end up having to look at the fixer too, the way those lists cycle, or maybe there are some special, like, bespoke contracts the fixer could send you out on. So I think that's up for tweaking, because people are running into what Josh just ran into here.
Yeah, there's some.
Are you just creating your own little like secret storage room?
I am.
Wow.
Well, Skylar is availing herself of your trenchers.
You're locking her up in there like the Cask of Amontillado or whatever. You're walling them up. No. No.
It has to be done. It has to be done. Okay, I need to.
They're gonna be killed.
I need to protect my trenches. Okay. Actually,
that's a total, dude.
They're just gonna eat
total
it,
mob boss move right there. Just build a wall like nobody was in there at all.
That's pretty cool. I've never seen this before. We were talking the other day about what some of the consequences would be of taking apart some of these public systems and currently thinking about some type of system of criminality that can trigger a bunch of different things. Um, one of which is just, you know, the people around you hating you, attacking you,
Yeah.
whatever.
We haven't really built a punishment in yet, but it A, you could end up going to jail. B, anyone who sees you could probably just beat you up. Like there's some fun levers I can't wait to pull when we get there. Because yeah, if you're living in a space station and somebody's hacking away at the exterior wall of that, you're not going to let that slide. Nobody's going to let that slide.
That old knockout with a knockout mechanic is coming sooner rather than later. Actually, I suppose we almost put it in with the cop.
We did, yeah.
Nearly.
Chico says vented for vandalism. The
I
ultimate,
mean-
the ultimate punishment. Will throw you outside.
I always like those parts of The Expanse when they talk about how seriously the kind of community takes like resource management and stuff, because they on series, for example, because they
Yeah.
all live there and share air, and they kind of realize how precarious the ecosystem is. And so we could replicate that kind of thing where it's like if you see somebody uninstalling a wall, it's like no quarter kind of a thing.
Yeah. Your best friend will turn you in if you basically cut a hole in the wall of your space station.
Basically, we're just shaming you right now, Josh. We're just making you feel bad for taking that wall.
You know what? If we ever meet, you better be careful. I might seal you into the wall, man.
You mean in real life? I meet you at like a conference, and you're like, hey, I found this cool thing over here, dude.
Yeah, look, there's this cask of wine in this room. Just come over here, Corey.
Hey, I love a good cask of wine. I'll follow you wherever to get a good one.
Phoenix says, by the way, if you're going to make people aggressive for breaking stuff on the station, make sure the doors work, because I've seen entire station getting stuck on a single door. Yeah, that one I have to figure out why that's happening. Whenever I try and make it happen, it doesn't, but it seems to happen eventually. So there's some sort of like probably race condition where the door keeps resetting a timer if more than one person's trying to open it at once. And Chico says DMC guards and Neoscav might murder you for vagrancy. So these are basically DMC guards in space now, the NASS patrols.
Yeah. Well, actually, the guards, the DMC guards were like a little. They didn't shake you down, really, right? I mean, they just kind of ignored you. So these guys are almost like more aggressive in a way.
That's true. They harassed you less, unless you bothered them.
Though,
if you bother
as
them, they will mess you up.
as someone who looks at the Neo Scavenger Reddit, the DMC guards are, people definitely don't like them.
There's an opinion
Yes.
of the DMC guard.
Yeah, they're the strongest thing in the game, I think. I think they're probably even stronger than a Wolfman, honestly. Maybe not. Maybe they're not.
I think the DMC guards are like real world police. They're dangerous because they have friends.
Yeah, there's like 8 of them wandering around.
Or they'll call friends in. The drone being one of them. But on a one-on-one fight, I think I'd still rather face a DMC guard than a dogman.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the thing about a DMC guard is once they're out of ammo.
Right.
I guess, I mean, if
they have a sidearm, don't they? They have like a pistol.
They do.
As well.
But I mean, it's like you just have to wait them out. Whereas a dogman, it's just coming at you, and those claws are there all the time.
Yeah. Well, there's a video circulating around the system of a dogman inside a ship in Ostranauts. Some people think it's fake. But I don't know. I'm not so sure.
We'll let you decide.
Yeah.
Chico says that the DMC guards might only get hostile if you don't respond to them, like when you're sleeping. And I forgot about that. That's true. They will get angry at you if you don't talk to them.
It's like a cop trying to wake somebody up who's sleeping in the park, and they're not waking up. They get
Let me see your
increasingly
hands.
angry.
Let
Yeah,
me see your hands.
that type
We're
of
gonna have to
thing.
drop him, but he's already on the ground.
So I'm just trying to figure out the all the different stats right now. So I'm doing the sort of social combat to see if I can get. Once again, it's altruism. I think we might need to add another altruism move.
Looks like you're friends with Louise now. You can ask them where they're from.
What's the payload for that?
For what?
Like the emotional payload for asking about their family. What does that
It's
boost?
pretty big. It's like you can look at it again. It's like it's it's double arrow, but it's higher than it's like 24 or something. I know that doesn't mean to people anything to people on the stream, but it's like higher than a normal double arrow. It's like closer to
It's a
triple.
power move.
Yeah. It's big. There's a huge difference. Now this guy's not gonna tell you where he's from. I know why he's not doing that, but like we'll just pretend he's private. You could probably ask him about his family though. He might respond to that. The real reason he's not telling you about his home is because I haven't written the stuff for Ganymede yet. Because he's from here. He's from K-Leg.
He's the fixer. How do you think he got to be the fixer? There's a deep and dark backstory there, man. Like
He wants to have kids one day. That's interesting. He's gonna have to leave a life of crime, I would think.
He's like what's his name? Walter White.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm only doing this to pay the bills.
Ask him about his family again. Let's see if we can hear about his mom or dad. That'd be really funny to learn about this guy's. Okay, close with one of their siblings. Ask another. The third one should be their parents. Nope. Well, you've pressed them enough. So now we know that they have a sibling, another Gilmore walking around here. And they want to have kids. That's nice.
His mood soured a bit.
I'm looking to see. I want something with esteem or security. That one puts security down. Guess we'll just ask. Tell him. I love the little animation for the one of the superstition. The little arm shake is great.
I don't know if I told you this, but the animations, there's only like 7 or maybe 10 in the game. They're not actually that hard to add though, and we've been using the Mixamo library to add them, which there's quite a few more to choose from if we ever decide to put more in. I was thinking originally though, like, let's see if we can choose the 10 animations that would cover every situation so we don't have to worry about animating everything. But the amount of difference that putting the bartender animation in made to just immersion might change my mind on that. So
yeah, I mean, once we're using the Mixamo library and we're referring to it in a JSON, we can just do all kinds of stuff.
We could have. I guess this is really high level animation thinking, but we could have it based on their traits and their like emotional thing like combined. So maybe if they're like a really strong person, they have like a bigger movement or something. I don't know. I'm blue sky thinking
I think
right
that's
now.
possible. I don't know if the animation library has the range to support that. There is a funny like variable you can adjust in the animation exporter though, which is like it's like emphasis or a motability or something. And it's like you do it and their arms get further out from their body and like really wave around, or you can like drag the slider down to bring them in a bit.
Oh man, when we add something really creepy, we've just got to like max that so the arms just go like all over the ship.
Like a ghost going around.
The go-to solution for that is always to just load an animation designed for the wrong skeleton type.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I can't wait until we start adding creepy stuff. I'm excited for that.
Creep stuff will be fun. I agree.
Yeah, when we're thinking about how to populate the outside of OKLG, the stuff that's kind of like outside the boneyard, Ghost Ship comes to mind, as well as all kinds of stuff. I mean, all kinds of criminal activity out there. Of course, they would probably be coming back to OKLG because that's the only thing around where there's like life and a place to stay and like food, basically, right?
Do you mean the players or the NPCs?
I mean, both. Just like I'm thinking about the kind of thing that could exist outside of OKLG and sustain itself. Like maybe like a den of criminals, assuming they had enough trenchers, could survive for a while.
Yeah, I mean, like if you had something, say, hundreds of kilometers out or thousands of kilometers out from K-Leg, it's either self-sufficient or they make like periodic trips to K-Leg, and I'd have to look up like the orbital mechanics on that too to see if it's like a ton of station keeping they'd have to do or if it would be fairly low impact.
I suppose if it was like a mobile, like a big old mobile ship, they could follow the K-Leg orbit, like intentionally, just kind of like keep up with it, basically. Got to have a den of thieves in your game,
Well,
Somebody
there's some interesting, like, one of the things Michael proposed, and I thought it was one of his darkest ideas, but I like it. So you know how like there's genetic manipulation in this game, and they create like custom pets and things.
Yes.
That same technology, I forget if it was even the same company, was like contracted to inhibit the physical growth or maybe even the emotional growth of human children, so they're like permanent children,
Oh,
so that
Lord.
parents
Oh,
can
God.
basically have like permanent 6-year-olds.
That is wild.
And so I mean that's dark enough, like I was like, oof. It's probably transgressing some laws in some countries in Europe, but on top of that, his idea was, what if there was a colony where they've escaped to, and like they're basically fully adult mentally. They've been alive for a long time, but they've got bodies of children that are just perma children bodies, and they've got their own kind of like retrofitted station that was abandoned, and now it's their home. And I think he called it Pan after Peter Pan.
That's
So
terrifying. Just like
it
a
was
bunch
just
of
like, this is the
adult kids
darkest,
running around.
the darkest idea ever, but it was so perfect that I can't wait to do something like that.
Yikes! You just get we don't even have kids in the game at all. I mean, in terms of the
No, we cut off the pre-18 crowd like a month ago because it was like, oops, we can't have a 5-year-old spawning on K-Leg as the fixer.
yeah, and also we don't even have like character models for anybody smaller than
For a while
But-
though, it was kind of like, I'm actually glad we did that because it was confusing to me. I'd be talking to someone, it's like they don't have a career, they don't have any skills. Like, why does this person spawn with nothing? It's like, oh, they're 5 years old.
I actually think the same thing whenever I meet a 5-year-old in real life.
It's like, what do you
Where's your
contribute?
job?
Like,
You know,
5-year-old.
you don't have a job. Like you have a bit of a personality, but no stuff.
Industrial Revolution was a mistake.
I want to
Not
have
the
a job.
industrial.
I want to have a job talk with
Work
these
safety
kids.
was a mistake. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Oh, can you imagine hiring these pseudo kids to be your crew, just working on your ship? Terrifying.
I'd be creeped out, I think. So I guess it's a little bit like, what was it? That was in Akira, wasn't it?
Yes, the kids, the smart
physically
adult kids.
stunted genius kids.
Uh-huh.
have you? I assume you guys know Lord of the Flies, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, I could imagine some sort of like, ode to that somewhere.
11-year-old Justice is a terrifying thing.
Yeah, there was that show Kid Nation, I think it was called, in the early 2000s. That was essentially a reality show where they just tried as best they can to just let kids kind of run riot on an island. It's sort of like famously good, people say. I've never seen it, but people talk about it. It was like a very good show.
What was it called?
I think it was called Kid Nation.
Kid Nation. It sounds like
It was canceled for probably reasons you might expect. Let's
it's for ethical reasons.
Kid Nation is an American television show that premiered on CBS in 2007.
I think we got the door bug.
So what happens if you hit open on it? Does it do nothing?
So yeah, it just doesn't
Oh, you
do
don't
it.
even like. That's interesting.
I feel like it must be something to do with the NPCs all trying to use it.
They're not even trying though. They're just like. Oh no, one of them is. One of them's got his hand doing the thing. The other one's just walking.
Yeah, I think this guy and these two are all trying to use it. Like this
I didn't
this
even see
person's.
that guy.
You just changed the corner pathfinding stuff, right? So that might be an unintended fix when that comes out. That might change. You know.
I think this is actually a different thing because all I changed was line of sight check at the last minute, and what that is I think they have a physics volume that is hitting the wall at just the right angle that they don't move each frame. That is another issue, a headachy issue that we need to solve. Zan was saying, could also put the criminal den near a Lagrange point. Yeah, there's a couple, this is getting back to Corey's earlier point, like what is something near-ish to an orbital object instead of like another orbit entirely. The Lagrange points are a big one there. And actually Hangdao Station, it's not on Mars, it's in one of Mars's Lagrange points. So it's far enough away that it's a trip by RCS and like you're not just going to hop over there, but it's close enough that you're not like packing food for weeks necessarily either.
I want to see if there's any holes in the station after that impact. It all looks okay actually there.
If you were going under 100, it should be fine. Like that's the 100 meters per second is the point at which you start putting holes in the hull.
If you didn't get damaged, it's a pretty good chance they didn't either.
So we're coming up on an hour and a half here, Josh. I don't know what your stream limit is.
I was sort of considering like 2 hours would be the sort of stopping point, like as a hard one to like not go over, depending on how the stream's going and what we're doing.
Okay.
Is there anything?
Sounds good to me. So I guess our stream goal was to like show some of this cop interaction. So maybe we should try to get pulled over. I mean, the way people talk, I haven't played this new patch a lot because I've been on vacation, but the way people have been talking about it in chat, it seems like they're getting pulled over constantly. So
it's definitely happening.
Unpaid fees can't dock, so that's a good way to show that actually.
You can pay fees straight from the PDA. You don't have to go out there.
Oh well.
If you,
I already went.
Okay. It's just when I found that out, I was stoked.
Damn, I better learn that actually. Yeah, I don't use the PDA that much actually. Really.
I just mean like if you go down there and click on the where it says cache, where it's red, and pull up your. Yeah, you can actually just pay it straight from there. Like you can click on it and then hit pay selected fees, but you already paid them, so you're good.
Right, let's undock.
You shut all the doors on K-Leg? You gonna space
they auto close now.
Oh, that's true. Forgot about that.
Although you can still kill everyone on K-Leg if you deliberately open them all and then just leave them.
Yes.
So for all you K-Leg bidders, there's still an option for you. Just spawn at K-Leg, don't they, the cops?
They will, yeah. If you are anywhere near K-Leg and like between K-Leg and the first derelict, they'll probably choose you to check first. I think the timer that it's about every 5 minutes that a patrol comes out, I want to say.
IRL.
Yeah, like real world 5 minutes between patrols, either coming out or patrols kind of looking your direction if they're already out. But if we get to a point where we want to force it, we could turn on debug, which is a little risky because there's some debug keys that could really throw things off, but that works.
Slowly drift towards this derelict. And by fast forwarding, I'm just hoping that it will fall a cop over to us eventually.
Well, it's on real time, right? It doesn't respond to your
Oh,
yeah.
wait, oxygen low. Breathe. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, so you can just do whatever. You could even dock that if you wanted to.
Actually, that might raise our chances, right? If we doctor something.
It gives them another thing to ding you for, but they'll probably come after you anyway.
Yeah, they see you.
Hey, this would be a great way to show that it going above 100 would destroy your ship. However, maybe not show that off quite yet. Maybe that'll be like a stream ending moment, you know. I'll bump into something at 99 and be like, look, no damage. And then I'll bump into it.
In at 100 and your whole ship just explodes.
Yeah, that was actually a new thing we added was conduits can now be damaged and destroyed by the same sort of collisions and stuff, which whole sections of your ship will shut down if that happens, including the nav station if you're on it.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
Yeah. I wanted, like, there were one or two times where I spent an afternoon looking into whether I could get sparks to fly when a conduit was damaged but powered at the same time. I still think there's a way, but it wasn't quite as trivial as I thought, and I didn't want to postpone more important things doing it.
Yeah, that's a good feature for sure, though. It would just look like that, right?
Like, yeah, like the welding
All
torch sparks, but would just
Yeah.
pop out every now and then.
Hey, a fridge.
Don't mind if I do.
Raid in the fridge, baby.
Damn, look at all this Kung Pao chicken. My favorite flavor.
And nausea pills for after.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna try like connecting some of these. I'll have to get some of these corner conduits.
Is this
See
the
if I
one that's
can-
basically just like the city bus or whatever? There's a ship that just looks like a city bus.
This one did have a lot of seats in it, so it might be.
Yeah, it's sort of like a little ferry.
Looks like somebody's status text got stuck on the screen over there. Browse social app.
Unless there's a
Yeah.
ghost floating out there on Facebook.
The Mariner is outside browsing Twitter.
That is a funny one. I see it all the time, that bug of showing somebody's activity. And it's like really funny when you see one that says like repeat but sexually or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like floating out there. You're like, what?
The Mariner's just a troll outside your portal.
I still haven't put on the purple jumpsuit even myself. I haven't even seen that text in the wild yet. Just because I usually stay confined to like debug loops when I'm working. I haven't played a game deep enough where I can like afford that thing.
Yeah, I definitely find that as, you know, playing it as just testing it, you don't get enough time to get like, you know, a massive ship on the go. And I would really love to, you know, build it out and customize it and have like, you know, matching floors. I love how matching floors is like the end game of this game right now. Like
They really is. The end game is to like once you start, you build like a couple new wings onto your ship, and then you go out and find the exact kind of like floor set you want. Especially if you're doing like a mosaic tiling or something.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And that's the kind of thing that we could theoretically factor into the rating system, the ship rating system, right?
Yeah.
I guess there can also just be an overall total value, Dan, of like the ship.
I think we're going to need that too if we're going to do anything like being able to buy and sell a ship. So like you start the game with a $4 million ship, you make a few payments on it, you can sell it again and get some fair market value back for it. But at least you're cashed out of the mortgage for however much you get on sale value, let's say. So like, let's say you sell the ship again for 3 million, you've made $500,000 in payments on it. You're still in the hole for 500,000, but that's a heck of a lot easier to deal with than a $4 million mortgage. And then you could potentially further down the line, like we were saying, outfit a ship and sell it to the right buyer, and then make like a cool couple $1 million fulfilling that order.
Yeah, I want to think of ways to get people back into the shipbuilding game loop that is not building up your own ship. And like maybe that's like a thing where someone's like, I want this kind of ship with these amenities, you know, and you just like go out, build it and sell it to them.
Yeah, those all sound like they're fairly tightly related to each other, and they could all kind of build off of each other. There was another suggestion on Steam about like renting a dry dock essentially at K-Leg. And then either you just pay for the time in the dry dock and you outfit the ship yourself, but it's a pressurized dry dock and you can just work on it. Or you can basically queue up a bunch of work and then pay a mechanic to do it for you and come back later and it'll be done. And I thought that was an interesting solution to the problem we talked about a long time ago, which is the ship editor is kind of a fun thing, but it doesn't make sense in the game. But the ship editor as like the interface to planning repairs in that dry dock might actually make sense.
You know, like it's like we can like put a filter over it so it looks like a digital imaging of your ship or something, and then you're kind of poking around in it, and then you're like this, and then they give you an estimate, and you're like how long it's going to take and how much it's going to cost.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Could even be like, you know, come back in 6 months when your ship is done, and then like you're doing all this stuff in the meantime, and it's like, hey, we need another 500,000 if we're going to finish this because this came up, and it's like, oh crap, do I cut my losses? Or like there could be a lot of fun stuff there too.
Dang, that'd be cool. Yeah, I like that.
When we say space life sim, we're really talking about all of the boring necessities of life.
Yeah.
Mechanics bills, insurance assessments.
We really are, dude. Like mortgages, there's like like Ogizos is like it's like a viciously boring concept, but hey man, that's life.
Well, I think to me, the allure of all of that is we build it so that you can escape it. It's the trap that you're trying to break out of by becoming like an independent freelancer in this game. So I mean, we don't want to put so much effort into the boring part that we don't have any time for the fun stuff. Like the fun stuff is kind of like freelancing around the solar system, surveying, or like cool loot finds in a derelict, or like aliens pop out at you, you know, on a trip to Europa or something. Like there's all kinds of other stuff we could do that's going to be fun in the exciting way, but the idea of like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and getting out of the rat race, that's the premise of so many of these sci-fi spaceship serials, right?
Yeah. I mean, design-wise, it's not so different than Neo Scavenger, where it's like the core, like the sort of like deepest foundation of the design in that game literally does involve like finding a boot that doesn't have a hole in it, you know?
It's like, I gotta boil water again, and in order to boil water, I gotta create a fire again.
Right.
It's like that's tedium, but it's establishing that so that you don't have to worry about it in the future is its own kind of reward.
For sure. And it means it's that much more vivid and real when like other things happen, you know? You're like, I've spent all this time boiling this water, and like, so, you know, when I get to a point where I can travel really far, it's like, because I have water, you know, it's like more of a reward.
And the cop yoinks your water out of your pocket and then drinks it as he's going back to his ship. You're like, but I worked so hard for that.
Yeah. I think it's good. It's good design, but I mean, because we're early access, I can understand why people are, the portion of the audience that is sort of like, when are we gonna have the aliens and the fights and the cops? It's like,
Yeah.
we will. We just got to do this other stuff first.
The funny thing is, like, I bet we could take a month as a team and basically just pull the Neo Scavenger combat moves over into Ostranauts. And I think the only other thing we'd need probably is the paper doll would have to have like wound stuff in it, which it doesn't yet. But the Neo Scavenger one did. Like, and just get like fist fights and like beating somebody with a crowbar and a few things like that in there.
Yeah.
It'd be a pretty significant game changer for some people, I think. Like they would look at it a lot differently, being like, well, now when the cop comes on my ship, I've got two options. I can talk to him or I could just beat him up.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I mean, having some type of it would probably just be like less granular the combat than it is obviously in Neo Scavenger. It's like super advanced in terms of you can go down to the ground and then like crawl away, like all that stuff. But
I don't think it has to be though. Like all of the things that Neo Scavenger does in combat are the same thing you're doing in social combat here.
Right.
You know, your social move is a Neo Scavenger battle move, except with social impact instead of physical impact. But, you know, being prone in Neo Scavenger is just a flag on your character that says I'm prone.
Mm-hmm.
The same way that being micromanaged in Ostranauts is a flag. So I think it's closer than it seems, but again, like the wounding on the paper doll and stuff, that's a pretty big deal to do. And then I think we'd have to do something in the social combat UI where it's like you click on this guy and then it retargets the conversation on them and then like resets all of the moves you can use to be applicable to that guy across the room instead of the one that's right in front of you. That'll be a thing that needs to be addressed. But yeah, eventually that's the idea though, is social combat, the UI is also the battle combat from Neo Scavenger, where like the guy across the room who's standing behind the bar, you can target him and then the moves switch to like shout at him from across the room, point your gun at him, or you can like click to get closer to him and walk across the map, and it abandons the conversation that you're in to go over there. You know, I think all of that might be doable.
Yeah, it's just the world itself is just less violent as often as the Neo Scavenger world is, right? Like it's just a little bit more precarious, right? Because it's really vicious down there on Earth. It's more
there's
like
a player out there who's going to just get into a fist fight or
oh
a
yeah,
gunfight
and
with everybody.
we want them to be able to do that, right?
But yeah, like the
they're not
real
going to be
world
attacking each other, you know. It's like people on K-Leg aren't going to be like fighting each other the way that people are constantly scrapping in Neo Scavenger.
Yeah, the guys in Mescaform Bar are not going to like take you down to eat your leg because they've got better food options. So.
Yeah, totally.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet. Yeah, when you go to that other station though.
Yeah, when you go to the child station, you know.
Cannibal children. It wasn't dark enough to begin with. We're gonna
now they're eating each other.
But
no
yeah.
cops yet, huh?
Yeah, I'm actually really really surprised. I guess that first one just, you know, got close to us and then thought, what is going on here? And just decided, you know, don't go near
Do you
that
have
guy.
a working nav station right now?
That might be why.
I have just uninstalled the nav station, so that might be. That might be.
You won't get a warning
Yes.
without an active nav station.
Yeah, so they might be out there.
Yeah, Naiba was on the same wavelength. He's like, how would you know?
Did they dock you still though?
No,
I guess not. Yeah.
You would hear the banging on your ship though if they were getting.
So that could happen then. It's like the world still is kind of active out there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But you won't get the little dee doo dee doo dee doo warning because there's nothing to see it.
Well, let's see if the cops are here. Install this bad boy.
How long have you been there, officer? I didn't have a nav station.
No
Don't see
cops.
any.
All right.
Well, we've got about 8 minutes. Do you want to force their hand?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is there a button I can press that's just gonna?
You'll
There
have to type
is.
unlock debug as a single word.
Damn, you guys are seeing the cheat codes right now.
Where do I type that?
Just anywhere. It listens for that string of characters at all times. Debug commands have been activated. So now if you hit the 3 key, it'll spawn a patrol ship.
Yeah, there he is. And then if you look at the nav station, you'll see him coming out of K11. I don't know if you're close enough. Sometimes you got to be pretty close or they won't.
Is there another ship closer than you? Yeah. So they're probably going to hit HS6NU, and then they'll probably hit the next one, and then you, if they don't run out of fuel first.
Oh yeah, the debug I don't think spawns them with good fuel like or maybe it does.
I think it's the same, but they don't have a lot of burn time the way they fly. They're just like cruise missiles.
I might have screwed us because I've just tried to undock with no RCS, and the RCS was on the other.
You're at the mercy of gravity and momentum now.
What are we? Oh no, we got an NT canister. Okay, okay.
Hey, we have a bite.
We can do something. Right, which one?
They're coming for you anyway.
They're coming anyway. Yeah, you're spotted. So
let's install this bad boy there.
Although you don't have air, do you, in this thing?
There is air actually.
Oh, there is.
Aha! Ha ha ha!
there he is.
Cop. I'm tying my shoelace.
It looked like you were about to propose to him for a minute there.
All right, Jenna Odom, 25, law enforcement officer, native to the asteroid. Ain't that nice?
And a stranger to you.
Reassure with logic. You know, because that always
Officer.
works with a police officer.
Not everyone that looks like a criminal is a criminal. Suppose you're right.
Let's reiterate some urgency. You know, like, hey, I don't have RCS. You know, can you
I don't have
wait?
any fuel. Oh, they're asking. Oh, we're kind of striking up a conversation.
Chatting
That's
you
cool.
up.
That's cool.
I'm pretty good
Don't
at
tell them
zero G.
gambling. Maybe you can. Oh, I'm
I'm good.
skilled in. Oh wow, family boosted. So there's this whole system of kind of like social moves you can interact with within these cop interactions. You're not gonna be able to leave the kind of loop of why they pulled you over. Like eventually they're gonna be like, they're
The
gonna
business.
kind of be like, okay, anyway, here's why I pulled you over. But you can do this stuff to manipulate their stats, and it's like scouting almost, right? Like now you're getting a sense for where they are. And that can help with these cop interactions, especially with respect to their security and their achievement, because those are the main things. Yeah, so even if you leave, they're gonna question you again.
We start over.
Um,
This conversation just went in a weird place.
So you can ask for their badge and credentials. Do that. You can figure out if they're honest, at least. If you ask for their badge and credentials, they have a potential response that kind of like shows you that they're honest. Okay, they say take a step back.
quick,
They're scared.
quick, reassure with logic.
Corey's like our police translator here.
Yeah, I know, because I wrote this thing. I know everything that's going on.
I wrote the book on these cops,
Yeah.
literally.
Okay. They're doing an OGZO's check. You haven't been following regulations, and they find you $1,500. Now
So
you can
after
insult them.
this, see if there's a poster in that room. I want to know if that worked or not. And
Okay.
Chico says, show trick, pulls out gun. Yeah, that's
Here's a trick.
no funny moves.
Right, okay, so I could pay a fine and insult them, or I could pay the fine and wish them a lovely day.
You gotta
What's-
insult them. They're just different. They're just different payloads on the. Yeah.
Fine. You
Pays the fine
dirty
and
pig,
asks-
you've given me a fine.
They
There
say
is an
you pay the
Ojizo
fine
poster
and
right there.
asks what Ojizo's boot tastes like. So there you go.
Can you try hitting the tilde key on your keyboard to spawn the debug UI.
Oh, we are showing the users some stuff right now.
Does it say get a
So
wriggle on?
yeah, that's the old debug jumper. So you see how it says pop 0 poster 0 up there? If you scroll down, is there another one that says pop 2 posters something? You might have to click on the map somewhere to scroll. Sorry, not scroll wheel, but the WASD keys.
Oh, right. So, wait, how do I get the room thing again?
Build
Yep, and then maybe click a floor tile and then try and scroll with the WASD. Okay, so population 2 posters.
Oh, I was looking
There's
at
one
the
pop
wrong
2
things.
posters 1.
So it does. The room does know it has a poster in it.
But it also says posters 0.
I think there's another room right next to the first room that has
There's that
poster
room.
0.
There's this room. I guess.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to check that. Like it seems to me like you are in a room that knows it has a poster in it, and that conversation shouldn't have come up. The poster find shouldn't have come up, so there could be a bug there.
Well, that's an example of what it looks like to interact with these cops. They're looking to fine you. You can kind of admit to a minor infraction if you just want to kind of like pay them off to get them out of there. You can also bribe them if you think you can get them off for like a lower amount. Sometimes they get mad though. You can also bribe them for a lot, and sometimes if you do it right, they can become your contact. So that's cool.
And I think that'll be kind of the next thing you're working on, right, Corey? Is if they are a contact of yours or a friend or an enemy even, we can probably add some conversation options there, which are a little bit more specific for those things.
Yeah, definitely. We can do all kinds of stuff at that point. We don't have systems to connect that stuff to necessarily, but eventually if you had a cop contact, you could like maybe snitch information to them or in exchange for information from them, or maybe even start trading goods back and forth. A good dirty cop storyline. Everybody loves that.
Bread and butter material.
Absolutely.
Well, we are 1 minute to
Yes.
close here. I was just going to say, are there any more questions from chat before we wrap? And Zan just asked, would it be nice if you get rumors about which cops are dirty at the bar?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
an interesting point,
That's
actually.
a great
Like,
idea, yeah.
How would we do that? But I agree that would be
I almost
like
feel
a staple move.
The bartender should be like almost an info person. They're the one who's going to see everybody on the station at some point.
Yeah, they're like, everybody knows Officer O'Houlihan's on the take kind of a thing.
And kind of a flip version of that. I know somebody said cops should maybe tip you off about the presence of a fixer. Just be like, hey, we be on the lookout for a shady character buying and selling things illegally, as a way of reminding players that that person exists. But I think that would be the same system leveraged there as this, which cops are dirty cops conversation option.
And we obviously got to make them do stuff if they're dirty cops, because right now all cops are kind of behaving similarly. We got to create like a different set of pledges maybe for the dirty ones.
I've got to say, what dirty or not, this cop is certainly a lot more friendly with you than most.
Well, they're going to become friends eventually if they keep chatting like that.
All right. Well, I think we should probably wrap.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. That was fun.
But yeah,
Seeing the
2 hours with y'all has been fun.
Been pretty good.
Yeah, I had a blast.
We only
I
had
guess the
one
other
crash.
thing
Yeah, exactly.
one scrape, one crash. I was gonna say one maybe last thing to say is we just dropped this patch and a couple sort of hot fixes after it, but I think what we'll do in the near future is probably have a couple more mini patches. I don't think we want to wait like 2 months like we did the last time. That patch took too long between drops. So you should probably see more frequent patches from here on as much as possible. But yeah, we'll probably see you all again in our next stream, which will be a few weeks from now at least, right?
Yeah, in about we want to go back to doing it regularly. So I think in about 3 weeks we'll probably do another stream, even if it's on the same patch or just like a sub patch of this one with a few more fixes. It'll still just be good because I think this opportunity to talk to people is
answer
important.
questions, talk about what's new. So
and one final thing, whilst I remember it, is book club. 6th of September, that's going to be happening. If you like your books, get in the Discord, and come along to that.
Is there any money needed to be a part of that?
I think there's a free copy of the book somewhere, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Karis always picks the free. She
always a
provides
free
the
book, right?
Yeah, it's always a free book. Yep, no money necessary.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
thanks
guys.
again for everyone joining us.
Nice.
Right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.